Welcome to The Touch, the Sound, a special series of videos for percussionists to explore sounds and techniques on our instruments. Today we're going to celebrate all things tambourine. I love the tambourine. It's a collection of wood, metal, and a skin head to create a vibrant array of sounds. So let's dive in. I first want to start off by exploring dynamics on the tambourine. I'll start with the tambourine in my non-dominant hand, something that will come back later. And in the non-dominant hand, I'm going to hold it parallel to the ground. I rest my dominant hand on the tambourine, and with one finger I tap above a jingle. To increase the volume, I'm just going to start adding more fingers. Now the next thing I like to tell students to do is consider having Mr. Ducky quack, and then we're going to have Mr. Ducky stop. And with the closed mouth of Mr. Ducky, we're going to now play a higher volume on the tambourine. Slowly, I'm also turning the tambourine so that the jingles release more freely. The next range of volume can come from a fist. Not the pointed part of the fist, but the flat part of the fist. And for my most explosive sound, I'm going to use my open palm. Now I'm going to explore the dynamics from loud to soft in one fluid motion. So you can see that there's an exciting array of dynamics to be played on this instrument. Now sometimes we have a very loud and rapid passage, and for that we can use a technique called knee fist. I'll have my chair available and I'll rest my leg on it, and then I'm going to flip the tambourine over and I'll strike sometimes with my fist, and then sometimes I'll let the tambourine fall and strike my knee. If we think of one E and a, the one in the and is with the fist, and the E and the is with the knee. One E and a. Now you want to consider how you get to this position. So if we have a part that we're playing in normal position, it might be on the last note. In your part, you'll write the word flip, so that you're ready and not having to flip it and make sound during a rest. And then at the end of that section, you can write flip to bring it back to our position. Now, it's often that we encounter on tambourine the rolls. There's two types of rolls we can explore, the shake roll and the thumb roll. Let's start with the shake roll. There's two ways that we can do the shake roll. We can turn our hand side to side, like twisting the doorknob, or we can shake back and forth in a motion where I move away from my body and close to my body. Now you'll notice I stayed with the non-dominant hand. Often players will want to switch to their dominant hand just because they're not as comfortable with the shake roll in their non-dominant hand. But you'll want to practice to get there, because that way you can have that dominant hand always at your disposal for all those other articulated techniques we learned earlier. And with some practice, that non-dominant hand will be able to play well. Now, we start the shake roll with a strike. And then if our part is tied to another note at the end of the roll, we strike at the end of that. But sometimes we have a note that's not tied to anything, so that just might be a half note. I'll play the half note, and instead of striking at the end, I'll move the tambourine so that it's flat and parallel to the ground. That way the sound stops thanks to gravity. Now when the roll is softer, mezzo, piano, and lower, we have to use the thumb roll. So the thumb roll occurs with friction. So a good thing to do to start is to treat your tambourine with beeswax. Often Black Swamp or other companies will send beeswax with their instruments, but you can also get beeswax at your local health food store. So then, I'm wiping the beeswax lightly across the tambourine and creating a small layer on the upper half of the tambourine. Next, I want to get my non-dominant hand to be as relaxed as possible. I'm going to rest the tambourine on my thumb. That thumb is going to stay nice and relaxed as well. I'm just going to slide it along the tambourine. That shows us that we need very little pressure to do this, and that you start to, as I say, feel the bumpies. That gives you a sense of how that friction will feel on the tambourine. I then flip it over, and with that same light pressure, relaxed left hand, relaxed thumb, and not a lot of speed, I start to again feel those bumpies as I wipe my thumb over the tambourine. that creates a friction roll. I like to remind my students it's a friction roll, not a pressure roll. Just feel the bumpies. Well, I hope this time on tambourine makes you want to go out and shake, rattle, and roll a bit more on tambourine. And remember, play with purpose and have fun.